The Exploitation of Kemet, or Ancient Egypt, by European and Greek powers is a complex narrative that intertwines themes of imperialism, cultural appropriation, and the manipulation of historical narratives. Here's a deeper exploration of these themes, including additional examples and their implications for contemporary society. Historical context of exploitation. This information has been researched, compiled, and brought to you by research analyst Sharri Plaza. Colonial ventures and expeditions. The 18th and 19th centuries marked a period of intense colonial expansion. European powers, driven by a desire for wealth, resources, and prestige, launched numerous expeditions to Egypt. These endeavors often combine military objectives with archaeological exploration, masking looting under the guise of scientific inquiry. Scholars and explorers frequently justified their actions with claims of civilizing missions or the pursuit of knowledge. Scientific racism. In tandem with imperialistic ideologies, the 19th century saw the rise of scientific racism, which sought to categorize human societies hierarchically based on race. Scholars like James H. Breasted and others argued that ancient Egyptian civilization was the result of external influences, often attributing its achievements to Semitic or European origins. This perspective effectively erased the contributions of native Egyptians and perpetuated a narrative of cultural inferiority. Cultural institutionalization. Many European museums, such as the British Museum and the Louvre, became repositories for artifacts taken from Egypt. These institutions often presented these items devoid of their original cultural context, emphasizing their aesthetic value while neglecting their historical significance. This practice not only commodified Egyptian heritage, but also reinforced colonial narratives that framed Western culture as superior. Examples of exploitation and misrepresentation. The role of archaeologists. Figures like Howard Carter, who discovered the tomb of Tutankhamun in 1922, are often celebrated in Western narratives as heroes of discovery. However, these narratives frequently overlook the fact that many excavations were conducted without the consent of the Egyptian people, and the benefits of these discoveries largely accrued to Western institutions. The treasures from Tutankhamun's tomb were widely exhibited in Europe, further commercializing Egyptian culture. Established in 1902, the Cairo Museum was intended to showcase Egypt's rich history. However, many artifacts were simultaneously removed to Western museums, leading to a sense of cultural dislocation. The museum houses numerous items that were either excavated or looted during the colonial era, and there remains ongoing debate about the rightful ownership of these artifacts. The Rosetta Stone, which played a crucial role in deciphering Egyptian hieroglyphs, was taken by British forces during Napoleon's Egyptian campaign. It is now a centerpiece of the British Museum, symbolizing both the triumph of European scholarship and the loss of cultural heritage for Egypt. The stone's presence in Britain has sparked ongoing calls for its repatriation. Western interpretations of Egyptian religion have often framed it as polytheistic and primitive, contrasting it unfavorably with monotheistic faith like Christianity. This misrepresentation minimizes the sophisticated nature of ancient Egyptian spirituality, which involved complex beliefs about the afterlife, morality, and the cosmos. The rich symbolism and rituals associated with Egyptian deities have often been oversimplified or sensationalized in Western narratives. Artistic appropriation and influence. The fascination with Egyptian revival styles in Western art and architecture during the 19th century reflects a broader trend of appropriation. While these styles often borrowed from Egyptian motifs, they stripped them of their original meanings and context, creating a superficial representation of Kemet's artistic legacy. This phenomenon can be seen in buildings like the Paris Opera House, which incorporated Egyptian-inspired elements without acknowledging their cultural origins. Contemporary implications. Cultural reclamation movements. In recent years, there has been a resurgence in interest in African history and heritage, leading to movements aimed at reclaiming the narratives surrounding ancient civilizations like Kemet. Scholars, artists, and activists are working to highlight the significance of Kemet's contributions to world culture, advocating for a more nuanced understanding of its history. Reparative justice and repatriation. The ongoing calls for the repatriation of looted artifacts reflect a broader movement for reparative justice. Many countries, including Egypt, are actively seeking the return of cultural heritage items taken during colonial periods. This movement is not only about physical artifacts, but also about restoring cultural dignity and acknowledging historical injustices. Education and awareness. Efforts to revise educational curricula to include a more balanced view of ancient Egyptian history are gaining traction. By emphasizing the contributions of Kemet to fields such as mathematics, medicine, and architecture, educators can help combat stereotypes and foster a better understanding of Africa's rich historical legacy. Global dialogue on heritage. The discourse surrounding cultural heritage is evolving, with an increasing emphasis on collaboration between Western institutions and source countries. Initiatives aimed at sharing knowledge and resources can facilitate a more equitable approach to cultural preservation and appreciation. Artistic responses. Contemporary artists of African descent are increasingly drawing on the legacy of Kemet in their work, using art as a medium to explore themes of identity, heritage, and resistance. This artistic renaissance serves to reclaim and celebrate the richness of African civilizations, countering historical narratives that have marginalized their contributions. In conclusion, the exploitation of Kemet by European and Greek powers involved a complex interplay of imperialistic ideologies, looting, and cultural misrepresentation. The implications of this historical exploitation are profound and continue to shape contemporary discussions around cultural heritage, identity, and historical justice. Acknowledging and addressing these legacies is essential for fostering a more inclusive understanding of global history and creating pathways for reconciliation and empowerment for those whose cultures have been marginalized. This has been a Sharri Plaza presentation.